Hey, welcome to the Strong Roots podcast. My name is Kristin Hill, and we are so excited that you're tuning in today. Our prayer is that you would move one step closer to Jesus through this series. So go ahead and check out this next episode. Hey, Strong Roots, we're in our marriage season. I'm here with an amazing couple. This is Rob, this is Kristi, and I'm so excited for you guys to get to know them. But first of all, we need to know, how'd you guys meet? And who pursued who in this relationship?
Well, I would say we pursued each other.
Mm-hmm.
So Kristi's older brother, Daryl, has been my friend since kindergarten.
Okay.
So we've known each other, for years. So, and then, as time passes, we got older. We both had, we're going through some tough times. So we just started talking, sharing, our issues, and just became friends.
Very good friends.
Very good friends. And then it just kind of evolved into, more than just friends, and I just think, now she's my best friend. So, and that's, really important. So I would say that, we pursued each other, the same thing, but she kissed me first, though.
That is true.
Yeah.
That's so not like me. That's surprising. I'm serious. It's not like me. But yeah, I definitely was like, yeah, he's a keeper. Yes. Yeah. So there's ups and downs in marriage.
Mm-hmm.
What has been some of the harder parts of your marriage, and how did God get you through?
Well, a lot of times, in the beginning, it's great and it's happy. And honestly, and I'm being fully honest, we really didn't have a lot of hard times. I mean, there was financial issues a little bit sometimes. We put the kids through private schools. It was tough. Some of the kids were going to Florida. They were going to Disney World. And we're like, well, we're going to tent tonight. That kind of thing. So finances were a little bit tougher for us. We chose together for me to stay home with the kids.
Yeah.
We really felt that was a calling for us, and we just wanted to do that. And so there are sacrifices with those, of course, financially for sure, but there's also a lot of positive things that go with that. But we, from the very beginning, promised each other, we're not throwing the towel in. There's no quitting here. So, and when things got rough, we just knew that God is always going to be bigger than this. We'll get through it. There's going to be a better day tomorrow, and we really stuck with it. And so that's how we really got through some things, is just realizing that we promised that we were going to do this, and it's hard, and it takes work, and we have to put each other first, and sometimes you don't want to do that.
Right.
So you have to rely on Jesus just giving you the strength to get us through those hard times. So
We did it as a team.
Yes, we
with
did.
God in front. So,
Yes.
and that was the biggest thing for us. So,
How'd you do that? How do you keep God in front?
well, I'm kind of a Craig Rochelle,
Love her.
geek. I'm always following him on different things, and we're reading a book right now, and one of the things he talks about is, your spouse is number 2, God is number 1, and even for single people right now, is that you have to get strong with God, and you have to get right with God before you find your spouse, because that's where the firm foundation is. And for any rough times or anything, we always God first, and then it sounds kind of weird, but it's God 1, spouse 2.
Yeah.
absolutely.
And that's what we've always based our marriage on. And so if we had issues and that, we would always go to God, and and maybe he didn't give us an answer that day or that week, but he would give us an answer somewhere along the line. And we always joke around, and if there's tough times, say God's got it.
Yeah.
And that's just it's a very simple statement, but in our marriage, it's God's got it,
worked
and
every time.
we stay strong with them, and that's that's what we base our marriage off of God 1, spouse 2.
And
So
just a little idea of how to do that. Rob and I are very faithful with our devotions.
Yeah.
He does his in the morning, and I do mine in the morning. And then we kind of like to share a little bit, like, hey, what was yours about? Well, what was yours about?
Yeah.
And so many times during the day, we would see that, we needed this. Like, I feel like if I don't sit down and talk with God, I'm not going to be properly prepared to handle what comes each day.
Yeah.
And so we are very adamant about doing our devotions, and not because it's a thing we want to check off our list, but it's something that we generally need. It's like eating breakfast, or we really need God in our life. We really need him to show us what we need to do today, and we need him to fill us what we need to do today so that we can do it. And then we do devotions at night together as a couple. Wow. And it's just a nice way to end a day. You might be a little angry at each other or not like what someone said, but when you're sitting down with God in your bed doing devotions, it brings you back to where you really, the simple things of life, of why we married each other in the first place. And so that has kept us very strong.
And we stay very consistent on that too.
Yeah.
Even I travel, so even the times on our way, we still, on my way into work, I'll call Kristi and we'll talk about our devotions. And, then before I get out of the car, we pray. And at night, I bring the couple's devotion with me and I read it over the phone. And so we make sure that we still, even if we're hundreds of miles away, we still keep God number one in our lives. So, and
top priority.
Top priority, yep. And I think it's very important that we do that. So.
Do you have a favorite couple's devotional that you use?
We just got done doing it's actually on the Bible app with Craig, and that one was really good. But we also have one that we're doing. I don't remember the name of it right now. Do you remember the name?
No.
But it's a really good one too. It just talks about like everyday life and how to, because some devotionals that we've tried, it's like, oh, okay, but does that really pertain to us?
Yes.
But this seems like most of them really, I'm like, oh boy, we never thought that. And
So there's talking points at the end, so we can kind of discuss our devotional. Just don't read it and then close it. So, and we find that even if we're tired, we make sure that we do discuss it a little bit and just hey, this is what we want to do. So, but it's very important, and you know what? It's a great way to end up your day.
Yes,
just,
absolutely.
You might have had a rough day or whatever, but you're laying in bed doing your devotion and
Peaceful.
Peaceful, yes.
How did you start that habit?
We just decided just to do it.
Yeah.
So I mean we've done our individual devotions for a while. So but we just decided, hey, you know what, we should be doing a devotional together too, just to kind of end up our day. So, and it just really works out well. So
that's awesome.
So it kind of keep us focused. So,
yes. So you guys get along really well. You said you're best friends.
Yes.
What are your rules for fighting? Like, I think so a lot of times in marriage, I've heard people say they never heard their parents fight. So then when they got in their first fight, they're like, it's over. Our marriage is horrible. But like, how do you guys fight? Do you have rules for fighting in your relationship?
Yes.
Yeah, never go to bed angry, so we're going to resolve everything before we go to bed. When the kids were younger and everything, if we did have anything that we needed to discuss, never in front of the kids.
Yeah. So
So we always went in private and we just discussed it. So, and we always respected each other's opinions, even if you listened. So, she's wrong, but then you'd hear her side and you would understand where she's coming from. So we always wanted to make sure that we respected each other's opinion and listened to it fully. And then, the big thing about, with people, disagreements and everything like that, we always in our back of our mind and always back in our relationship is always never give up. So it doesn't matter how bad this fight was, whatever, we're never going to give up. We're going to get through it. We're going to push through it. And so that was basically, our rules on that is just respect each other, even if, we don't agree. So.
And I'll tell you, the very first fight that because we have a lot in common, so we don't argue a lot. We have different opinions sometimes, but for the most part, we don't argue a lot. But the first time, it was not very nice. It got a little ugly, and so I just said, Rob and I just talked, and I said, honey, you cannot like what I said, and you cannot like what I did, but please don't talk to me like you don't like me. Because that hurts more. I can understand you don't agree with me, and but don't go personal with it where you start taking shots at each other, because that's unhealthy. Period. For anybody, even with your friends or anybody.
Yes.
Of course you're going to disagree, and you have to be ready for that, because it's going to happen. No matter how much you have in common, you're not going to agree on everything.
Yep.
But make a commitment not to make it personal and like attack them personally. And we literally, that was probably, we had been dating for a while, and it takes a little while sometimes, and we had that conversation before we even got married, because I did not want to fight like that. That just was not healthy.
And practically speaking, how do you separate the thing you're fighting about from the person? Like, it sounds like you figured a good balance.
Yeah, I still think the same thing, that whatever it is, it's never going to be bigger than us being together. Like, no, we won't let it become something that's going to put a wedge between us because, we have found very often that Satan really doesn't like this.
Yeah.
He does not like our
Great
marriage
marriages.
being healthy.
Yeah.
And so he loves to like kind of dig you here and dig you there. And so we are definitely aware of his presence trying to attack our marriage, and we do the tough stuff. I mean, there's times where, we might, have to walk away from a conversation that someone's having because it's not healthy for our marriage, or, leave a situation that we feel is not. So it's just being willing to do whatever it takes to keep your marriage healthy.
Yep.
And it has to align with what God says too, obviously. I'm talking about maybe some rough language or, not so appropriate conversations. That's the kind of stuff, unfortunately, that we kind of just like slide back out of, because those little tiny things are what end up becoming big issues if you don't nip it in the bud right away.
Right.
Absolutely. Have you had any friendships that got in the way of your marriage at all? Or has that never been an issue?
I don't
No,
think so.
no, not really.
Not
So,
really. Our friends are good
Yeah.
Christian friends that
Yeah.
want the best for our marriage, just like we want the best for their marriage. So,
Yeah.
And we kind of, we do a lot together.
Yes, we do.
So we do a lot together. So
I love it.
yeah, we really do.
You know.
Like work together, and we do our yard work together, and we do house stuff together.
Yeah.
We are together quite a bit.
Yeah.
Very, very blessed that way. So,
Right.
Has it always been that way?
Yes.
I
Yep.
love
yeah.
it.
And our kids.
Yeah, we're
Our
with
kids
the kids
are
all the time too.
as much as we can get with our kids too. So, and we do have friends, but we do more just us and with our kids than we do with other friends. So
Yeah.
So, talking about kids,
Mm-hmm.
that is a source of a lot of tension in a lot of marriages.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine you guys didn't always see eye to eye in certain ways you were raising them. I don't know which one of you is like the more hard hitter and the other's the more sugar. I don't know, but like, how did you guys wrestle that out? How did you guys submit to one another in that? And which one is the hard one? Which one's the soft one?
well, it all depends on what it
the
is,
situation
what the
is.
situation is.
Yeah.
So
That is true.
some things I feel more strongly about, and there's some things that she feels
Right.
strongly about. So it's
Yeah.
kind of, but she knows my hot points and what I feel really strong, and I know what she feels very strong on. So
compromise.
we compromise on that. So everybody says our kids are so they're great.
Yeah.
And we have good kids, but we did go through some
Yep.
trying times with them and everything. But Kristy and I, same thing with an argument or something like that. If there is something that we want to talk to our children about or whatever, I'm just not going to go directly to them and talk to them about it. We're going to discuss it first, and then we're going to go talk to them about it. And so it's coming from mom and dad, just not dad,
Yeah.
or just not from mom. So
Yeah, we don't
and
let them
and
do
we
that.
do. No, yeah.
Hey, mom
they
said
can't-
this, but dad said this.
Yeah.
No, we already
Yeah.
played that game. We know how that works.
Yes.
We
So-
talked about this already.
Yeah, so it's really respecting each other's opinion, and over time you start really looking at her really passionate parts, what she feels about the kids, and you start thinking, wow, I mean, what she thought about and how she wanted to push it is, this is why our kids are this way, is because of this, and maybe I should have been a little bit tougher on that side. I think on both ways,
Yeah, we both
but
did.
yeah, so
And if we ever did say something that we thought, oh, that was a little harsh, it would never be in front of the kids. Again,
Right.
you have to stay as a team. You have to stay united when you're parenting.
Yeah.
Right.
And so, like, if I'm like, you know what, honey, when you said this, that was a little harsh, maybe.
Yeah.
And if he felt that way, he'd be like, yeah, you're right. Or if I did something, he's like, honey, you kind of let him get away with a little something. And yeah, you're right. And then so that we
Yeah.
can be better the next time, you
Right.
know. So.
or if we need to go back and talk to the
Oh,
children.
yeah, apologize. We have no problem apologizing to our
Apologizing,
children
yeah.
if we're wrong. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
they need to see that you have to say sorry if
We're
you're
human
wrong.
too.
Yeah, we
So,
all make
yep.
mistakes, so
Yeah,
for sure.
so.
What are your non-negotiables for your kids? Like when you're raising, because I've heard different people say like they have to respect their mom. And I think I've heard a pastor say, like, they had them actually, like, stand up at the dinner table, but when mom came and, like, wait till she sat, and then they all sat. Like, people have their different things that they're like, what do you feel like were some of your core, this is what we really are united in raising our kids in?
Well, the big thing is, uniting all of them in Christ.
Yeah.
So that is, number one. So
Nothing else really matters, to be
Nothing,
honest with you. Like, if they love Jesus,
Yeah.
everything else is going to be, not perfect, ever, but
Yep.
okay. Because we know that if they truly love Jesus and they have surrendered their life to him, and they want to serve him, that life's going to be okay for them. And
Yep.
they've asked me, Mom, what do you want for your birthday? I want you to love Jesus. I mean, that is,
Yes.
that's just how it's
Yeah.
always been, because that's so important to us. Like,
Yeah.
because we know what it's like if you don't, and it's so much a harder road. And they're still going to make mistakes. We're still going to make mistakes, but when you have Jesus as your number one, it
Yeah.
makes life better. So that was our big thing. And the other thing, Rob, is he's very much a gentleman. And he has raised very gentleman boys, and it's not because he told them. It's not like, hey, you need to do this. He opens the door for me almost all the time. The boys see that, and they open the door. Not because Dad's like, you need to do this because it's what, it's because they saw Dad and how he treats me as equal, and he respects my opinion. They see that.
Yeah.
And we, and if he has said something, he has, I shouldn't have said that to your mom. I want you to know, and I'll do the same thing. I kind of said something to Dad. I shouldn't have said it. That was his thing, and so they see how we treat each other. And I think sometimes just being the example of what you want your kids to look like is a better way than all the time.
Yes.
the non-negotiables. So,
Yeah.
right, because we have a lot of different personalities in our family. So
Yeah,
Yes,
always.
we do.
yes, we have a lot of them.
Yeah.
So you have to just kind of go with the flow with it. But they all know that our number one priority is that they need to, that they love Christ, and they put Christ as number one, and and they live Christ-like lives. That's our, I would say, non-negotiable. So.
Yes, absolutely.
So how did you do that? Like, in your family, what did that look like?
Praying with the kids and just being, it was kind of sweet. I got a message from one of our sons when he got married, and it just, I didn't realize, like, how he felt, but when he writes it down and then says it to you, then it's kind of like when they're adults now, you hear, and he just said, Mom, it took me so long to get married is because I wanted a wife just like you, who loved God, and it was important, and who was able to love her husband. And that's so, that I think just keeping it real, like not just lip service, but actions.
Our actions.
Of how we love each
Yeah.
other and how we love Jesus. I think that is, and of course, as a mom looking back, you're like, oh, I wish I would have read the Bible with them a little bit more. Or I wish I would have, you always say that, but, you just do the best you can, and you just try to love. I think that's this love, unconditional love for your children shows Jesus the best way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
It's funny you say that. I feel like there's so many things with little kids right now that I'm like, I want to read this devotional every single day, but if I don't do it every day, then I'm not going to do it all. I'm just like, just do it.
When
you don't have to do it
yes,
twice
when you
this
can
week.
do it right.
Right. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
It's really just keeping them in a wholesome environment, and that too. So, and just like a lot of our the kids, we kind of send a text to them what we're doing, and they kind of text some things back to us, and and some of the things is just they realize that we want to lead godly lives and Christ-like lives, and and it's not like we're just on a just pounding it in them. It's just the way we live and the way we talk to our kids about it, and during sports and all of that stuff, and some of our kids are very competitive, and so and a lot of competitive, and
Rob and I are pretty good.
so yeah, so afterwards, hey, we'll be driving home, and you might mention it to him. Hey, was that a Christ-like? Were you Christ-like out there? Because, and we have to remind them that you're out. They played for Ileana Christian, so they had Christian on their jersey. I said, so stuff, reminders like that, and we were youth group leaders, at our old church and that, and all the kids went through us with the youth group, so they kind of see how we shared with the kids all of our how we felt and everything, and I just really think it's by our actions that we really set the example for the kids. So
I second that. I think that's huge. They watch you more than they listen to you.
Right. Yes,
That's right.
yes.
That is
So,
true.
and I remember a sermon, I mean, many years ago, when I was a kid, many years ago. So, and, when he talked about Sunday worshipers, people coming in and they'll be in the, in the church and they'll be, praise God, and they'll be having their hands raised. And then, Monday morning, they're back out there, just
Not being any different.
not being any different, not being Christ-like, and it really stuck to me. And that's what I just like. I don't want to be that type of person. I want to, it's got to be 7 days a week, and so
Yeah.
that's what we try to do with our kids. So
Oh, that's
All
awesome.
in, all the time.
all in all the time.
That's
Yeah,
good.
yeah. So
So do you have any regrets? Do you have anything like, I guess what I mean by that is something that you, if there's somebody just newly married that you're like, we thought this was good, but it wasn't, like, I wouldn't do it again. Do you have anything?
no, I don't think so. I don't know if there's any kind of regrets that we have.
You always feel like, I wish. My biggest thing is, I just wish I would have. We would have read the Bible more with them. That would be my thing,
Yeah.
because we sent them
Yeah.
to private schools and we prayed with them and stuff. But sometimes the problem with the private school, everything is great. You have loving in there, but Bible becomes a subject,
Yeah.
and so they decide whether
That's
they
good.
like it or not. Which is hard then, because if they decide they don't really like the history of the Bible, or then so it.
Ooh, that's good.
Yeah, so it's kind of like you really want to instill it in them when they're very young, and that it continues to go. But I think that would be. I just wish that we would, VeggieTales came out a little too late.
That's so good. Okay,
Yeah.
so last question. So how do your roots remain strong in Jesus in regards to marriage?
We keep on feeding the roots.
Yes.
Keep on watering the roots. And we talked before about, daily devotions and praying together and just talking about needs. And, if I have, last week was a very busy week for me, a very stressful week. And I knew that every day that Kristi was praying for me. So,
Absolutely.
and just making sure, and I could feel it, and just, so, and that's a big thing. And, our devotions, I love our devotions. And it was funny last week. I was, she came with me, the last week to kind of help out a little bit, and I was running a little bit late, and usually when she's getting ready to put her makeup on, I'm doing my devotion, and I don't know, I don't think I wanted to get up early enough or something, so
Yeah.
I was running a little bit late, so, I said, once you sit down, I'm gonna read my devotion to you, so I did, and then later on she goes, did you mean something by that? Because it was something about coming out of your comfort zone or something like that. So I said, no,
like,
I
are
just
you
was
trying to
reading
tell me
it.
something?
So yeah, it's really, with our roots is just really keeping them deep and keeping them well watered so we can just keep on growing with Christ. And so, I love my devotion. It's a Craig Rochelle devotion. So
Yeah. On the Bible app or?
no, it's a book that we found online. So and so I love my devotions. She loves her devotions. We love sharing devotions. We love praying together. And then we love our devotion at night too. So, and just, constantly and serving.
And going to church together.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
really important. And,
It just, and going to church with everybody too.
Yeah, I like that.
It's just really, it's
so
really
much
great.
nicer
So,
too.
Yes.
so, and that's really, it's just really, keeping God as our focus. So, and, the final question, and here's the biggest thing. God one, spouse two, and that's going to be
Absolutely.
that's
Yep.
going to be your best thing. So,
Yeah. And then one other advice, if I could give you advice besides just having God be number one, marriage isn't for selfish people.
no.
It is just not. You have to be selfless. And there are going to be days where you need to be filled, and you know what? Your husband might not have that ability at that time, and you need to know you're getting your filling from Jesus. Your husband's there to be your partner and your teammate, but you need to be willing. Just silly things like Hallmark. Yeah, guys, I know Hallmark, but Rob will watch it with me. But guess who
Don't say
sits?
that on the video. I'm gonna lose my man card.
But also, I watch football with him every Sunday.
Yes.
Because we do things with each other that might not be our favorite things, but it's just, and that's how that's how I've been so close to Jesus is through marriage. Honestly, He has really refined me through our marriage, because to be more like Jesus, is to be selfless and to be humble and to
Give
love
grace.
others and grace and
Yep.
forgiveness. So
And that's all Christ-like qualities. So,
yeah.
and that's the biggest thing. So, yep.
Well, I'm going to leave it at that. That was really good. Well, thank you guys so much for listening, and thank you guys for letting us learn from you, and
Our
we
pleasure.
hope to catch you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to follow us on our other social media platforms. We don't want you to miss out on any future content. Thank you so much again, guys. I hope you have a great day. And I want you to know I am personally praying that your roots stay strong.